Alright guys, this isn't one of my usual videos here. There's not going to be any gematria involved. I'm playing a risky game doing this video, but I feel I need to do it. So I shared this video today on my Patreon. Must watch. Funeral director John O'Looney blows the whistle on this. And it really hit me, guys, to be honest. I've been saying that this is really extreme in regards to the possibility of lowering the population. And I've said next year and the year after is going to be off the charts. And this guy basically confirms what I've been saying. I'm just using gematria and numbers. This guy is using first-hand experience of being a funeral director. I'm going to put this link in the description. I really hope you all watch it and share it, guys. It's time we come together now. It honestly is. So I'm going to read something here from the CDC website. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Control is the key word here, guys. And it's not about saving lives, okay? Or protecting people. So I'm just going to read it out. I'm not going to say what I think, because if I read it out, I can't get done for misinformation. Interim operational considerations for implementing the shielding approach to prevent COVID-19 infections in humanitarian settings. All this humanitarian effort and philanthropists, guys, don't fall for it. This document presents considerations from the perspective of the US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, for implementing the shielding approach in humanitarian settings as outlined in guidance documents focused on camps, displaced populations, and low-resource settings. This approach has never been documented and has raised questions and concerns among humanitarian partners who support response activities in these settings. The purpose of this document is to highlight potential implementation challenges of the shielding approach from CDC's perspective and guide thinking around implementation in the absence of empirical data. Considerations are based on current evidence known about the transmission and severity of coronavirus disease 2019. And may need to be revised as more information becomes available. So what is the shielding approach, guys? The shielding approach aims to reduce the number of severe COVID-19 cases by limiting contact between individuals at higher risk of developing severe disease, high risk, and the general population, low risk. High-risk individuals would be temporarily relocated to safe or green zones established at the household, neighborhood, camp or sector or community level, depending on the context and setting. Camps, guys. Camps. They would have minimal contact with family members and other low-risk residents. Guys, we're letting a group of people tell us how to live our lives and what to do, and it's gone on for long enough now. It needs to change. The government is a group of people who dictate how the masses live their lives, guys. Government in Latin is mind control. They control the minds of the masses. Not mine anymore, they used to. I used to play along like a good boy. Not anymore. Not anymore, guys. And it's time more and more people step up now. We need real unity. We can't keep waiting for other people to do it. Or a hero to come along, or just dismiss everything that's gone on over the last 18 months. It's time everybody sits down, has a chat with the family, with their friends, about what's going on in the world, guys. Now is the time. Current evidence indicates that older adults and people of any age who have serious underlying medical conditions are at higher risk for severe illness from COVID-19. In most humanitarian settings, older population groups make up a small percentage of the total population. For this reason, the shielding approach suggests physically separating high-risk individuals from the general population to prioritize the use of the limited available resources and avoid implementing long-term containment measures among the general population. People are basically getting thrown in a camp, or possibly going to get thrown in a camp. And what are people going to say? They deserve it. Oh, well, it's better for everybody. Guys, where's your soul, your spirit, your heart? It's not. It's not good for anybody. In theory, shielding may serve its objective to protect high-risk populations from disease and death. High-risk populations always have a high risk of disease and death, guys. However, implementation of the approach necessitates strict adherence, basically do as you're told, to protocol. Inadvertent introduction of the virus into a green zone may result in rapid transmission among the most vulnerable populations the approach is trying to protect. Really? Trying to protect? So there's different levels, guys. Household level, a specific room area designated for high-risk individuals who are physically isolated from other HH members. Low-risk HH members should not enter the green zone. If entry is necessary, it should be done only by healthy individuals after washing hands and using face coverings. How are they doing, guys? These coverings. Interaction should be at a safe distance, approximately 2 meters. Minimum movement of high-risk individuals outside the green zone. Low-risk HH members continue to follow social distancing and hygiene practices outside the house. Hygiene practices. My word. How are people still playing along with this? Neighborhood level. A designated shelter group of shelters, maximum 5 to 10 households, within a small camp or area where high-risk members are grouped together. Neighbors swap households to accommodate high-risk individuals. What is this, guys? This is real. This is on the CDC website, guys. This is very real. Camp sector level. A group of shelters such as schools, community buildings within a camp sector, maximum 50 high-risk individuals per single green zone, where high-risk individuals are physically isolated together, getting thrown in a camp. And they're going to use schools or community buildings or things like Walmart. It's a FEMA camp, guys. It's basically concentration camp. One entry point is used for exchange of food, supplies, etc. A meeting area is used for residents and visitors to interact while practicing physical distancing 2 meters. No movement into or outside the green zone. Are you kidding me? People are basically getting sent to a prison here. Operational considerations. The shielding approach requires several prerequisites for effective implementation. Several are addressed, including access to healthcare and provision of food. However, there are several prerequisites which require additional considerations. And then table 2 present them. Each green zone has a dedicated latrine bathing facility for high-risk individuals. So you get to have a bath, guys, which you should be able to if it's all about hygiene. So, if dedicated facilities are available, ensure safety measures such as proper lighting, hand washing, hygiene infrastructure, maintenance and disinfection of latrines. What? To minimize external contact, each green zone should include able-bodied, high-risk individuals capable of caring for residents who have disabilities or are less mobile. Otherwise, designate low-risk individuals for these tasks, preferably who have recovered from confirmed COVID-19 and are assumed to be immune. As far as I'm aware, you can't be immune from this. This may be difficult to sustain, especially if the caregivers are also high risk. As caregivers may often will be family members, ensure that this strategy is socially or culturally acceptable. Currently, we do not know if prior infection confers immunity. The green zone and living areas for high-risk residents should be aligned with minimum humanitarian standards. You're damn right. You're damn right it should. Will it? Probably not. Monitor and evaluate the implementation of the shielding approach. So you've got to adhere to protocols. Again, do as you're told or get punished. Men and women and individuals with TB, severe immunodeficiencies or dementia should be isolated separately. Multiple green zones would be needed to achieve this level of separation, each requiring additional inputs resources. Further considerations include challenges of accommodating different ethnicities, socio-cultural groups or religions within one setting. We're all one. They've divided us with ethnicities and socio-cultural groups and religion. We're all one, and we should unite as one to stop this madness, guys. Madness. I know most people just want to get along with their life as normal. They got the you-know-what because they need to pay for the house and the car and the vacation, and to an extent I get it. But I've gave up so much because I've refused the you-know-what. And it's just horrific that people are scared to talk about this. If I'll send anybody this link, 90% won't even look at the information. They'll dismiss it because they care too much about professional sports or the mainstream. They'll watch all of that, but if I'll send them a link like this, they won't read it. Only a few of my friends. Everybody on my Patreon, God bless them all. But this is major. This is going on. This will happen if people don't open their mouths. Guys, I know a lot of people have watched Hollywood movies. They always believe a hero is going to save the day. That's what they've done. The Jesuits, the Masons, the elite, they control Hollywood. They want you to believe a hero is going to come and save you. We are the heroes. We are the people that can come together and stop this. Community right now, go door to door, speak to people, show them this, send them this link. Don't stop. Because if we have communities that unite, it makes it harder for these people. But they've created divide and conquer. Somebody could literally grab me now, throw me in a van, and people would just sit back and watch. That shouldn't be the case. And it's sad that it is. Community acceptance and involvement in the design and implementation. There's no way that anybody should be getting involved in this. Even with community involvement, there may be a risk of stigmatization, isolation, separation from family members, loss of freedom, and personal interactions may require additional psychosocial support structure systems. Loss of freedom, well, that's already happened. Again, I called it 1.5 years ago that there'd be travel restrictions. You won't be allowed to do a lot of things if you don't get the you-know-what. And I called it and got called nuts and crazy. Everything you can imagine. And pretty much everything I said would happen is happening. And what I'm discussing now is going to happen. If people don't come together, it's going to happen. You'll have family members sent off to camps. To camps, guys, where they can't see their loved ones. Who knows what's going to go on in those camps? High-risk minors should be accompanied into isolation by a single caregiver who will also be considered a green zone resident in terms of movements and contacts with those outside the green zone. Protection measures are critical to implementation. Ensure there is appropriate, adequate and acceptable care of other minors or individuals with disabilities or mental health conditions who remain in the HH if separated from their primary caregiver. Guys, these minors are all going to suffer from mental health conditions if they're unable to see their primary caregiver or their parents. Imagine when you were a kid, you suddenly get sent off to a camp and you can't see your loved ones. You're going to lose your mind. Do we want it to get to this point, guys? Because that's where it's going. That's where it's going. Again, I've been right about 90% of the things I've said about all of this. What makes you think I'm going to be wrong now? Green zone shelters should always be kept clean. Residents should be provided with the necessary cleaning products and materials to clean their living spaces. High-risk individuals will be responsible for cleaning and maintaining their own living space and facilities. This may not be feasible for persons with disabilities or decreased mobility. Maintaining hygiene conditions in communal facilities is difficult during non-outbreak settings. Consequently, it may be necessary to provide additional human resource support. You're damn right. If there's people who are immobile or disabled, you want them to clean their living space? This is sickening. Green zones should be more spacious in terms of shelter area per capita than the surrounding camp sector, even at the cost of greater crowding of low-risk people. Low-risk people, guys. What is this with you know what? Like with kids and minors, it's not even affecting them. Ensure that targeting high-risk individuals does not negate mitigation measures among low-risk individuals. Physical distancing in markets or water points where feasible, etc. Differences in space based on risk status may increase the potential risk of exposure amongst the rest of the low-risk residents and may be unacceptable or impracticable considering space limitations and overcrowding in many settings. Guys, I can't read all of this out. But what is this about green zones and camps? Consideration. Plan for an extended duration of implementation time, at least 6 months. How many sixes? 6 foot social distancing. When you die, you go 6 foot under. Everything's 6 months with these people. Everything's 6. I played tennis in LA last year. They said no more than 6 balls on the tennis court. I went for ice cream, no more than 6 people allowed in. We know the number 6 is connected with Satan. Okay? And people just laugh it off. They won't be laughing next year. They won't be laughing. They'll wish that they did something about it. They'll wish they listened to people like me. There's only so much I can do. I've given up so much of my life to putting out content and sharing information with people. I gave up my job. I gave up a lot of friends. I made myself vulnerable and made myself look crazy for a long time. Thankfully, more and more people are seeing I'm the opposite of crazy. I'm actually very aware. But again, it might be too late for a lot of people.